Right. Right, next up we've got people setting names now. Can we have a quick press round of applause? Count to three, 1, 2, 3! Keep that going if you want, please, for Elizabeth Buie!
Good evening. First, I would like to say, Gavin, that I do not have any tattoos. As an American living in the Northeast, I get a lot of questions from locals. Oh, here's my interviewer now. I bet she starts off with where I'm from. Good evening, my darling. Are you Canadian? Now you'd think. I know that it's sometimes hard to tell the difference between our accents, but you'd think people would play the odds. Actually, I grew up in North Carolina, but I don't talk like that anymore because for 35 years I lived in Maryland, just outside Washington, D.C., 330 miles north of where I grew up. And my accent is a mix of North Carolina and Maryland. And we think you're so cute when you call it Maryland. Can you understand the Geordie's pep? Well, when you're talking to me, usually, when you're talking to each other, all bets are off. When I was first here, and I've been here 2 years, I had to listen for a while to determine that a conversation I was hearing was actually in English. Or maybe not. You're a student? Couldn't you do your PhD in America? And I can hear her thinking, at your age? Tell you, the best thing about being my age is that I get prescriptions free.
Don't believe it.
And senior discounts. Well, you know, the only group that I know of that's doing anything remotely related to my research area is at Georgia Tech. And Maryland had already become too hot for me in the summer. Atlanta is 400 miles further south. I wasn't going there. Plus, I wanted to live in the UK for a while, and a student visa was the easiest way for me to get your government to let me do that. I'm actually hoping to stay, so now I have to work on a work visa. Why did you come to Newcastle? Well, to be honest, when I was first exploring doing a PhD in the UK, I was focused on London. I mean, to Americans, London is the UK, right? So, and in fact, some of my friends still say, I'm coming to London, we'll see you. And I go, no, it's 300 miles north of here. But hopefully you can come up to visit. Anyway, I did get a very good, very tempting offer from a university there, but Northumbria turned out to be the best match for my research topic. What do you like best about living here, my darling? Walking is normal. And the climate supports it. I actually like this climate. I can walk all over without getting all hot and sweaty. And I love how it gets up to 22 degrees and everybody starts complaining about how hot it is. People, you have no idea what hot is. Now you guys from India, you shut your mouths. What do you miss most about America? You mean besides Thanksgiving and the 4th of July? Mixer taps. Having separate taps for hot and cold is insane. We're supposed to wash our hands in warm water. Now how am I going to do that? How the hell do I get a good wash when it's freezing over here and scalding over here? Do I go back and forth? I'm not that quick. Now my British friends tell me to fill the basin. But by the time I've washed, the water is all soapy, so I have to drain it and fill it again. And then when I rinse, the soap gets in the water, and so it's no good for rinsing, so I have to drain it and fill it again. Don't tell me you rinsed in soapy water. That's just crazy. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you something about my research. People want to know what I'm studying. My research topic is techno-spirituality. Now, as somebody pointed out backstage just before this set, that's not the same thing as hip-hop spirituality. I'll thank him afterwards. So I can hear you going, right. Well, techno-spirituality is the use of technology in spirituality and religion. And I'm interested in the support in the design of technology to support subjective spiritual experience. Now I can hear you all thinking, she's American. She's studying spirituality. She's got to be a fundamentalist. Right. Actually, I'm agnostic. But I'm eternally curious about what goes on in people's heads. And in any case, spirituality and religion are not the same thing. Spirituality, a spiritual experience, is a sense of deep connection with something larger or greater than yourself. It could be a deity. It could also be nature, the universe, a humanitarian cause, something in which you find meaning. So my first project was to, and Canadians say project, by the way. So my first project was to, I looked at spiritually oriented apps for iPhone and iPad, and I compared them with what the research had studied. The field basically is human-computer interaction, so it's all about how people use technologies to do whatever they do. And as you can imagine, the apps covered way more uses than the field had studied. So why might that be? One reason is that academics tend to be less religious on average than most people. And maybe they just don't think about it because it doesn't apply to their lives as often. Another possible reason is a fear that other academics might see such research as unscientific and might dismiss it for having a religious agenda. You thought I was a fundamentalist, didn't you? So that's a realistic fear. The next thing I did was an analysis of comments on a set of YouTube videos. And we all know what YouTube comments can be like. Well, I may just have found the most peaceful corner of YouTube. It's not kittens. It's not puppies. It's not babies. It's meditation. Did you know that there are almost as many meditation videos on YouTube as there are kitten videos and puppy videos? More than 5 million of each. Actually, today I measured it 5 million meditation, 5.5 million kitten, and 9 million puppies. But you know that changes because the YouTube search results change all the time. But anyway, it's roughly the same. Meditation is hip, man. So let me read you some of the choice comments. Whoa, that was insanely awesome. What a peaceful state. I'm very blissful. My body was going numb, and I felt the top of my head tingling, the crown chakra spinning. Makes me want to poop slowly and peacefully. But you know, some of the comments are a little ambiguous. That's my favorite as well. Some of the comments may be a little ambiguous. I can't sleep with this knowing it isn't actual rain. I feel like there's somebody watching me. Holy shit! I study with this music on. I better get an A+. Did you notice the person who felt like somebody was watching him? Holy shit! That's called a numinous experience. You feel awe and fascination, a sense of a mysterious, powerful presence. So I like to think of my research area as numinous experiences of the techno-spiritual kind. My supervisor and I are currently using science fiction to help us explore how people might respond to techno-spiritual products. Science fiction is full of stories about people reacting to technologies, to intelligent, powerful machines that may seem mysterious and even godlike. And we find that it can inspire our thinking about how people might react to ideas we have. We're using a new technique that he developed called imaginary abstracts. You probably know what a research abstract is. It's a summary of a paper that highlights its important features, such as method and findings. Well, an imaginary abstract is a summary of a paper that hasn't been written about a prototype that doesn't exist. And we have used them on ideas. It's an imaginary abstract is a way of conducting a thought experiment on design ideas. We have used them on ideas as serious as remote participation in an actual pilgrimage, a physical pilgrimage, and as lighthearted as a soul food microwave that signals the end of the cooking by playing Amen in 4-part harmony. So I'd like to end by sharing you some thoughts about a comment that I get from both sides of the pond. I get this a lot. I really admire your courage in moving to the UK to do a PhD. Courage. North Korea would have required courage. But this is England, for God's sake. The only country that would have required less courage would have been Canada. But they wouldn't have asked me if I'm Canadian, eh? Thank you.
Yes, yes,